Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk to you about something that's really close to my heart, the entrepreneurial mindset. And no, this isn't just one of those quit your job, pack a hoodie, and start a startup video. It's actually about how you can think and act like an entrepreneur no matter where you are. I'm Noaa Ilani, the VP of Product at Gong. I lead our fastest growing product called Gong Engage, which started off as this unvalidated idea when I first joined. We took that rough concept and turned it into a major revenue driver through some pretty messy, gritty startup style learning experiences. Before Gong, I worked across the spectrum, scrappy startups, fast growing scale ups, and even large companies like Gartner. I also ran my own product and UX agency for about 9 years. This is where I worked with early stage founders to some of Israel's biggest tech companies. So here's what I've noticed across all these different environments. Whether you're a founder in a garage or an engineer at a massive corporation, the people who make the biggest impact share this entrepreneurial mindset. I'm super passionate about this because I've seen it time and time again. While most teams are scheduling their fifth alignment meeting of the week, true entrepreneurs are already testing prototypes and gathering customer feedback. They're creating momentum rather than waiting for permission. So why should you care, might you ask? This mindset lets you make a real impact from wherever you are in your career. Plus, it's incredibly fulfilling to know your work is actually making a difference. Let me tell you what happened at Gong. When we first launched Engage, our internal startup, we had this interesting challenge. Yes, we had resources as being part of the scale-up we call Gong, but we also faced some risk aversion, platform constraints, and stakeholders who were already used to a really well-oiled machine. But here's the thing. Waiting was actually riskier. Momentum was oxygen, and we needed to seize the timing conditions of the market that were just in our favor at the time. Today, my goal is to break down this entrepreneurial mindset into tangible elements that you can recognize, cultivate, and apply to your own professional journey. While I believe some of these aspects, this mindset naturally arise from upbringing, these life experiences and circumstances, many of these behaviors can actually be learned, practiced, strengthened. So let's take a look at some of those behaviors. Define the damn problem. Great entrepreneurs are obsessives, not about solutions, but about problems. There's this great Einstein quote. If I had an hour to solve a problem, I'd spend 55 minutes thinking of the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions. Before throwing resources at something, they really interrogate reality. They ask why. It's a simple question. Why? Repeatedly. Why? Until it gets almost annoying. Kind of like kids do, right? Well, they're onto something. Asking why a lot helps you find root causes instead of just symptoms. I've grown really sensitive and mindful about spitting solutions from the get-go. It's a discipline, let me tell you, but it's so tempting, and most people will find it much easier to just talk in solutions. But you gotta be careful. In my team, we always hold each other accountable if one of us starts falling into this trap of solutioning before validating the problem deeply. Forget the lone genius myth. We all have this image of entrepreneurs as these solo geniuses working alone from the garage, all the way to IPO. Well, that's just not reality. Well, in most cases, it isn't. The ones who actually shake things up, they build coalitions. They're not waiting for permission, but they're definitely not ignoring their colleagues either. With Gong Engage, we had only 8 months to deliver a product within the constraints of an existing platform. Guess who our first customer was? Our own sales team. Launching an imperfect alpha, to say the least, was super risky. We were asking them to transition from a system they were already comfortable with to something new for their mission-critical work. But their candid feedback, that became our guide. 8 months later, the trust paid off when the sales team fully stood behind us. How did we do it? Lots of long hours, traveling to observe them, listening carefully, delivering quickly on expectations. We understood that our decisions affected their livelihood. Building great relationships during this uncomfortable process made all the difference. This taught us something often overlooked. Product creation is deeply emotional. It's not just about building features, it's about investing in relationships and inspiring a better future. Consider your personal API. This is something I think about a lot, my personal API. How easily can others connect with your thinking and your process? Think of yourself as having endpoints that make it simple for people to interface with your ideas. But a truly great personal API doesn't just make itself accessible. It also adapts to other people's APIs. You know, those people that they're difficult to work with? Your API can deal with it. My dad was a diplomat, so growing up, we lived in several countries. Being a third culture kid gave me this adaptability built in. I was constantly navigating different environments, languages, cultures, expectations. I noticed the same adaptability in many third culture kids. Fun fact, we often change our accents based on the environment, which is pretty weird. See what I just did there? My engineering partner at Gong has his own take on this. He described himself as offering translation services for really ambiguous situations, kind of like the hitchhiker's babblefish. If you know, you know. Thinking about your own personal API, how robust is it? How easily can others connect with you? Kill the doubter, embrace the curious. Here's a secret weapon: curiosity. Companies are full of skeptics who think they're the smart ones because they constantly point out flaws. That's cheap, it's addictive, and it's totally toxic. Skepticism will close doors, curiosity will open them. Real entrepreneurs do their homework, they understand strategy, market context, and customer pain. They raise concerns, but always with context and alternatives, not empty cynicism. I remember we were viewing a new feature once and looking at the UX concepts that the team had tested. Someone in the room killed the creative vibe by suddenly pitching a completely different problem to solve. They were all like, "This is boring, we don't care, can we do something else?" They clearly hadn't looked at our strategy, roadmap, or user data. And I wanted to ask, why do we need to slow down for you? An entrepreneurial thinker would have done their homework first before challenging the team. True entrepreneurs, they don't need to be sold to. They see potential immediately. They just need a small hint. And they start connecting distant dots. If they don't get it, they're going to check themselves rather than requiring you to sell them on a vision. Communicate like a human. In big organizations, clear communication is like water in a desert. Entrepreneurs know this. They won't drill you with PowerPoint bullets. They'll make complex things seem digestible. When Gong hired its first PMs, we actually recruited former CEOs specifically for that skill. Why? Because entrepreneurs know how to sell a vision concisely, and if you can distill your idea into a memorable story, you've seized leadership, regardless of that fancy title. Showmanship is so critical for your career path and sometimes so overlooked. Talent and skill and experience matter, but showmanship takes you places. It shouldn't be underestimated. There's this great quote from Vin Jian. Remember, in your life, in your career, in your relationships, you are only as good as you can communicate. People won't see you for your brilliance if you can't get it across to them. I've always been fascinated by people who can command a room and speak in a way that makes everyone want to hear more. If you're interested in this area, I recommend books like Story, Crucial Conversations, and Super Communicators. I spent a lot of time educating myself on this, and I still do every week. And also, I've noticed that daily journaling has helped me tremendously in becoming a better writer. So let's talk about relevancy. I love it when people take care to stay relevant. That's some hard work. Someone might just be a great idea generator, but relevancy is where it's at. It means understanding the direction you're headed, keeping up with the industry, keeping up with changes, doing a whole lot of reflection, but without the spiraling. Relevancy also means that understanding how you work fits into the bigger picture. And really understanding, like the real understanding, not just half understanding or almost understanding. A cool story I heard on a podcast with Wiz's head of product, Roz. For the first year, they were heads down and trying to validate product market fit. And one day she felt really embarrassed to admit to the founders that she didn't really get it, what they were trying to build. She initially thought that she was the problem, but discovered that none of them really got it either. That was some courageous admission, which led to their pivot, which is undoubtedly connected to Wiz's crazy success. It's crucial to really get it. If you never seem to get it, check around you. Don't be shy. If no one else gets it, it probably won't work. Maybe it's about communication. Maybe it's about this non-relevant idea that you fell in love with and doesn't fit with the bigger purpose. I personally rely on my kitchen cabinet to help me with this. Build your kitchen cabinet. Entrepreneurs aren't narcissists shouting, "I alone can fix it." They gather trusted advisors who challenge and refine their thinking, not cheerleaders, advisors. If you're not regularly uncomfortable with feedback, your cabinet is too weak. When Engage launched, our internal ambassadors, our cabinet, didn't just cheer us on. They stress-tested ideas, asked uncomfortable questions, and made us a hell of a lot sharper. That's real collaboration. I'm so appreciative of it. Own it, even if it's not yours. Entrepreneurs won't say, well, that's not my job. If you see a problem clearly, congratulations, it's now yours. Corporate entrepreneurs, they treat responsibility like gravity, inescapable and powerful. Here's a reality check. Your beloved processes from 5 years ago might be today's obstacle. Entrepreneurs have zero loyalty to tradition. If something stops working, they toss it fast. Yeah, sure, that will introduce chaos, but chaos is exactly where innovation thrives, so it's okay. It's important to recognize that things change constantly. Recently we've felt it all, and we need to adapt. Not just adapt, but embrace the change. This isn't for everybody, granted, but if you don't become mindful about it, it could affect your health. Change is inevitable, and friction is part of the road. We just need to decide how we're going to react to it. As someone who tends to overthink things, I find it kind of draining to be around people who resist change. They get defensive, they complain. Well, the world changes, it evolves, and it moves in cycles. It feels just so much better to watch people spot the wave and surf it instead of fighting against it. Wrapping up, you don't need a hoodie, a garage, or a VC funding to have an entrepreneurial mindset. You just need to stop waiting for permission, dissect problems obsessively, communicate clearly and passionately, stay curious, not doubtful, own challenges beyond your title, ruthlessly discard outdated practices and ideas. Choose momentum, choose curiosity, choose impact. Thanks for watching, and let's get after it.